All right, Andrew Easton of the ESUCC here, and I am so grateful that ESU 10 has shared two of their best and brightest with regards to SEBL with us today. And so Patrice Feller of ESU 10, welcome, and welcome to Teresa Ritta Olson as well. We're going to chat a little bit about what is SEBL. We have acronyms galore in education, it seems, but this is a really important one, not that others aren't, but we're going to explore that in the video that we have now. And so, Patrice, will you kind of give us just maybe your own personal take on SEBL for teachers? What do they need to know?
Sure. SEBL really stands for Social Emotional Behavioral Learning, and it's really the interdependent development of social emotional competencies. That is the knowledge, skills, etc., needed to thrive in any setting. And that interdependent development of social emotional learning skills with the behavior that demonstrates what's been learned in the classroom or in any setting.
Terrific. And Teresa, how would you maybe kind of round that out?
I love what Patrice said, and I really feel that SEBL is everything that we do in education. It's not its own separate thing. It's my favorite. When I went to a conference a couple of years ago, and the favorite thing I heard about SEL was that it's everything right down to how we grade. So everything we do impacts students in a social, emotional, and behavioral way. So when we're thinking about this, this isn't an extra thing. This is about intentionally making sure we help our students socially, emotionally, and behaviorally when they're in school.
I so appreciate that, because it is, as you're saying, it's not just tell me how you feel. It's trying to process what to do with that and how to articulate that, but everything, as you've mentioned, to behaviors in the classroom and approaches to learning and so much more. So to get a little bit more into that, we're actually going to share a link. And so this is to the CASEL website. I feel like there are a number of education initiatives out there, and for all those respective ones, it seems like there's a myriad of different sites. But when you talk SEBL, the CASEL site is where people go for that kind of foundation, and also even some of the resources that go with. So we're going to bring that up actually here in the video to show you this framework that they have set forth. So again, you can access that at the link that's provided. But maybe, Patrice, would you talk us through a couple of those kind of core pieces of this here, indicated in the orange as we kind of get started? And I'll click over and we'll talk self-awareness maybe to begin with.
Sure. Well, like we said, CASEL defines social emotional learning in 5 areas. And the 2 that you see at the top in the orange are related to yourself. So the intrapersonal learning, your self-awareness, how well you understand your strengths and your weaknesses, what you know about your thinking, and the way you manage yourself based on how you're feeling and thinking.
Terrific. And then maybe to speak to the portion in green, Teresa?
Well, and then the social awareness and the relationship skills are how we work with others. So when we think about social awareness, do we know, are we able to empathize with others or take other perspectives? Do we understand and are we able to express gratitude? And then when we think about relationship skills, are we able to communicate with each other? Are understanding peer pressure and how that works in a negative context. So those are all about how do we work with others.
Yeah, and this responsible decision-making piece is one that I've kind of come from a personalized learning background, and I really like that when you offer students choices that they can make caring and constructive decisions about how they will approach those and their behavior in those choices once they get there. And so there's more to explore, as you can see, as you start to move out with regards to what that looks like for classrooms, schools, families, caregivers, and communities, and just the culture piece that's built within all of that. But any kind of final comments here maybe on this framework and how educators might use this to be more effective in this work?
Well, I do find, Andrew, because I think sometimes when we talk about social, emotional, behavioral learning, especially at the secondary level, we get a little more apprehensive about talking about it because we feel we like to think, we don't like to feel sometimes. And so I like to talk like that responsible decision-making one that you talked about is where I usually start with teachers, because when we look at the aspects of that component, they really do talk about the things that we're teaching at the secondary level. So that's sometimes where I start. Another piece that I usually try to connect this to, and Patrice and I have talked about this before, is connecting it with instructional model work. So if you look at Marzano, you look at Danielson, or any homegrown model, or even the teacher effective teacher practices, they will talk about, or like the things that are in those competencies linked somewhere in those instructional models. So it's important to know, again, that this isn't something new. This is something we've always done. It's just about being more intentional about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Patrice, what would you sort of say as a kind of closing remark?
Well, I think it's important to understand that when you embed positive behavior supports into your social emotional learning context within school, and support that with the foundation of positive school climate and culture, you'll get the best results.
And I love that results in the classroom, and I think lifelong, right? I love that I've seen some of the SEBL work that my own children have gone through as a part of their educational experience have a profound impact on their at-home attitudes, behaviors, actions, decision-making, and strategies that they employ to just take care of themselves. And so thank you both for advocating for this work. Those that are tuned into this, we have another video that we're going to release here on the same page that's going to get into the resources a little bit more. So make sure that you check that out if you want a little bit deeper conversation with some more links and such to kind of point you to. But thanks to Teresa and Patrice for joining us for this one and helping us know a little bit more about SEBL.